drone burnt and fell on my head. 9 summers ago, the Prime Minister had mooted one election, one country.
Vajpayee was not in favor, I can tell you this, of an early election.
The general elections to be held in March, April in 2024 could be preponed. It's not coming, Rajdeep, from the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's coming more from the India alliance partners, because they are saying that the government's gotten spooked by this alliance and there could be a possibility of moving up the elections. Possibility or red herring?
Before I answer the question, you're watching chunaavKeChoudhary. She's Preeti Choudhary, after whom the show is named. I'm Rajdeep Sardesai.
Sidekick. I'll complete it for you.
There's a buzz that the elections which are scheduled for March and May next year could take place in December this year. Mr. Modi could pull another rabbit out of the hat. Now, my own sense is, Preeti, Narendra Modi understands how to use power. And you can only use power when you are in power. So my sense is Mr. Modi will not miss a single day in power. Look at his political career. Interestingly, the one time that Mr. Modi preponed an election was 2002. Very few people know that the actual elections of 2002 in Gujarat that took place in December were scheduled for July of 2003. They were to be held later. Mr. Modi preponed it because he recognized that in the aftermath of the riots that had taken place in Ahmedabad, there was a polarized political climate. There was the emergence of Mr. Modi as this Hindutva hero, and he wanted to capitalize on it, goes for a dissolution of the assembly, goes on a Gaurav Yatra and triumphs. That's the only time. After that, 2007 Gujarat, 2012, when he was under some pressure, there was a sense that was a tough election, but he stayed the course. 2014, of course, 19, he's never ever thought about preponing an election.
There's a difference. Somewhere down the line, a state election is different than a national election. So we are talking about a general election here. I remember, Rajdeep, 9 summers ago, the Prime Minister had mooted one election, one country.
Outright ये कह देना कि एक देश एक चुनाव के हम पक्ष में नहीं है. अरे चर्चा तो करो भाई. आपके विचार होंगे.
Where he's only started the whole idea of one election and one country, but it's happened before. It's happened, and it's interesting. 1971, Indira Gandhi preponed an election, actually came back with a never seen majority, but in 2004 we thought Mr. Vajpayee under India Shining thought he's going to do it, but no, incredibly lost. So it cuts both ways.
It does. You see, Indira Gandhi got her timing absolutely right. She wanted to strike when, in the aftermath of bank nationalization, abolition of privy purses, she was suddenly being seen as this lady who was trying to take on the old guard in the Congress, and before they could sort of get their act together, she struck with Garibi Hatao as the slogan. It worked. With Vajpayee, it's very interesting. Vajpayee was not in favor, I can tell you this, of an early election at all. In October of 2003, Chandrababu Naidu survives an assassination attempt by the Naxals. Chandrababu Naidu has been in power for a decade, 7-8 years. He had taken over from NTR in 96, and Chandrababu Naidu fears that anti-incumbency against him is growing in Andhra. He thinks that the sympathy he's got, or he will get as a result of this assassination attempt, plus if he goes with a general election, Vajpayee's own stature, Vajpayee versus Sonia Gandhi, will give him a bump. So he decides, and he convinces Advani, who then convinces Pramod Mahajan, who then convinces Vajpayee. Vajpayee ji on his own would have been very happy. He was having he was at the peak of his popularity. Economy doing well. Mr. Vajpayee was seen as the tallest leader of his times. He had no reason to call an early poll. Chandrababu Naidu, Telugu Desam leader, his ally from Andhra Pradesh, key ally, pushed him into that election. And as it turned out, Andhra Pradesh is where the turnaround took place, and the Congress under YS Rajshekar Reddy defeated Chandrababu Naidu, and that made a huge difference.
And India wasn't shining anymore.
So I think, you have to get your timing right. The one thing about Prime Minister Modi and to some extent Amit Shah, they will, or to a great extent Amit Shah, they do regular polling. You and I are talking today, somebody of the BJP's wider world is doing a poll in some part of the country with a huge sample size. And they will know went to strike. I think they struck, for example, with LPG,
Right.
And bringing prices down because they got feedback.
Let's look at both pros and cons of it. Okay, so in a way, he's going to be shining out of the G20 moment if he does it in December,
Yes.
right? It's the he's the oyster of the world, or the other way around. But also, it's a point where the India alliance still wouldn't have had its act together. We are already in September, in 2 months to have it. We also have experience that even though some states might be going the Congress way in December, but now the voters quite discerning in terms of voting for the state and voting for the center. So he has quite a few things going for him. But Rajdeep, will he be also somebody who's going to lead the big Ram Mandir movement, like which is supposed to be in Jan or Feb?
Absolutely. Look, Mr. Modi at the moment is on a high. Chandrayaan.
Right.
Then you've had G20. His stature has risen. You're seeing it even in every opinion poll. But I think he would like the Ram Mandir moment to consolidate in a way his original sort of Hindutva mascot image that he's inaugurated the Ram Mandir. The buzz is that actually the PMO may shift to Ayodhya in January. I'll give you a story. And this is the Modi story which I keep giving. I gave it on London Top on a show. I don't know whether it's true or not, told to me by a friend of his from Gujarat. Mr. Modi used to live in Pandarwada and go to the ST stand in Ahmedabad where his uncle had a tea shop and work in the tea shop. Whether he sold tea or took the accounts depends on who tells you what he was doing, the story. So he used to come in that ST bus and that same ST bus would go back to Pandarwada in the evening. Mr. Modi would come with his jhola, leave his jhola on the seat almost like he's booked that seat for the journey back home. This friend tells me the only time he's seen Mr. Modi get angry is when he come in the bus and see someone else sitting on that spot where that jhola was. Because what was the message?
अरे हम तो फकीर आदमी हैं झोला लेके चल पड़ेंगे जी
एक बार कुर्सी पर बैठ गया, I am not leaving the kursi. And that in a way, is the man. He hasn't lost an election. When would you prefer an election? December, in winter, or April, May, in summer?
I wait, Rajdeep. I wait for the Rajasthan election. It's my most favorite election to cover because it happens in the lovely month of November where you are out in the field. Rajasthan's a beautiful state. It's my favorite time in year to cover. I think it's a punishment to cover the general elections. I have had food poisoning. I've had heat stroke because I'm on a bike.
Blame it on Vajpayee. You see, till then, elections were the right time. We were pushing for winter elections. 1999 was held at the end of the year. Then you had Vajpayee ji bringing the election forward of October and November to April, May of 2004. And since then, we are stuck with this summer election.
I'll give you a story also. I was in Amethi and I was on my motorcycle and we had a drone which was following me. It got so hot that the drone burnt and fell on my head and I fell. It's a crazy story, but these are election stories.
Yeah,
it was so hot.
Preeti, you're right. I mean, summer election is very unfair. It's unfair on candidates. It's unfair on the election commission officials. It's unfair on us journalists. So in an ideal world, Mr. Modi, हमारा भी ख्याल रखो, कर दो दिसंबर में. Nice.
All right. So
Santa Claus बन जाओ.